is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdate 210331.2. We are now close enough to get a good look at the wormhole. It looked a tad unstable, but promising. I'm prepping to send some propaganda missiles first. I hear Magog's hated anyway, so a warning to the haters seems only fair. If you are a resident of the United Kingdom, you will have seen on your Twitter, if you also use Twitter, a certain term trending. This particular term I can recollect from 2015-2016, but back then, based on the parameters for what constituted this term, it was summarily debunked. However, in the United Kingdom and in 2021, the term has legitimacy, considerable legitimacy. With this particular term, yes, things do actually need to be investigated, but in this case, it is being investigated. The term in question is based on the notion that this particular act is normalized and deemed acceptable by the majority. For obvious reasons, I can't say the name fully because YouTube, yo. So instead we shall call it grape culture. Thousands of testimonies have come from students and alumni, which have then been shown on a website called Everyone's Invited. A significant number of those testimonies have come from private schools, which I'm sure in the UK will lead to many just saying, abolish them. This is currently being investigated by Chief Constable Simon Bailey, who is the lead officer for Operation Hydrant, which is the National Task Force for Child Sexual Abuse Investigations in Institutions. It assesses allegations of abuse in schools before they are given to individual forces to investigate. Accompanying that is a national hotline for reports to be set up within 72 hours. Chief Constable Simon Bailey told The Times that the outpouring of the allegations was the education sector's equivalent to Me Too, and that he feared a culture of misogyny and sexual harassment had not been challenged in some schools. The way that this is going to be investigated is similar to that of the approach on the National Football Child Abuse scandal, where police received more than 2,000 referrals involving more than 330 clubs. That led to the conviction of former youth football coach Barry Bennell, with Simon Bailey being quoted as saying, "If somebody has been privy to grape or serious sexual assault, then we want to hear from them. What I fear is that there will be a number of predators that will have moved from secondary school to university where they will continue to offend." He was asked about whether some schools have covered up reports to protect reputations, and Simon Bailey replied that he did not have evidence of it, but he did add, "Am I naive enough to think that this hasn't happened? Of course I'm not. Do I think there will be circumstances where abuse will have been covered up to protect reputations? Yes, I do." One of the more notable schools to be hit with accusations from the Everyone's Invited website would include Magdalen College School. The master of this school, it's in Oxford, Helen Pike, said that it was really upsetting that her school had been named in 3 testimonies posted on Everyone's Invited. Since this has all come out, the majority of the posts on that website have been anonymized or deleted, mostly to protect those who have said them. Obviously, when this goes to the police, anonymity isn't granted between the police and the person, but they do retain the anonymity between the people and the rest of the public. All of this should be investigated anyway. Magdalen College School is a private school for boys which does have a mixed 6th form, and immediately upon seeing those allegations contacted the Oxfordshire safeguarding team, with Helen Pike saying, "I was hoping that whoever it is that posted the testimonies had spoken to us and was okay. It's particularly challenging because they were anonymous, and I was really worried that young people were taking to Instagram when I would hope that they would seek professional support. The influences of alcohol and pornography and expectations around what sex is are really challenging. Questions of consent for children are really challenging for us. For the sake of it then, don't watch a David Dobrik video, as he apparently doesn't know what it is either." Helen Pike has also said that she has tried to foster a culture of respect, boundaries and sensible decision making in its pupils from the age of 7. In a virtual assembly this month, she told the pupils to ask their mothers and sisters about sexual harassment they had suffered. Simon Bailey's Operation Hydrant is also working with the Department for Education, the Department of Health and the Home Office, and the Department for Education is already prepared to close schools if they fail to meet safeguarding standards, with a source in the department saying, if it becomes clear that there are current failings in any school safeguarding practice, we will immediately ask Ofsted or the Independent Schools Inspectorate to conduct an inspection. If a school is found to not be meeting the required safeguarding standard, we will make sure it either improves or closes. I think the more terrifying threat to most schools would be to tell them they're about to become academies. When speaking to BBC Radio 4, Simon Bailey believes that this could well be the next big national child sexual abuse scandal, and that currently he is only dealing with the tip of an iceberg, being quoted as saying, "What I am anticipating is that there is a greater focus on this issue. We will start to see reports of abuse, of current abuse, of non-recent abuse in the university sector, in the state sector, in the private sector as well. This is not something that is exclusive only to the private schools." At present, 100 private schools and 75 state schools have been named on the Everyone's Invited website. The Metropolitan Police's lead for rape and sexual offences, Mel Larimore, believes that the issue is not limited to the private schools, and that parents and guardians as well as teachers need to ensure that young men and women understand what healthy relationships are, also being quoted as saying, "I think there is a culture that has to be challenged, where young men are viewing pornography, are seeing the sexualization of women, and as a result of what healthy relationships are not truly understood." I'm going to throw this remark in now because it is relevant. That is the second time someone has referenced young men viewing pornography. There are many perspectives on that particular comment. I just want you to be aware that there is a view here. Nothing more than that. Okay? While staying within the ballpark of this theme, this subject, I now want to go to Australia, to a college in Victoria, who have a solution to all these kinds of problems, past and present. What they're going to do is what they did in fact. They get the male students to stand up in an assembly. They also want to out victims of sexual assault. Nice. Yes, that's classy. Get all the boys to stand up and apologize on behalf of their gender. That's not even a joke, by the way. That's something that actually happened. I don't think there was a single person in that room, or a single parent, who thought that was a good idea. But the school did it because, in their minds, it was a symbolic gesture, but have conceded that it was, while well-intended, inappropriate. At some point, someone needs to teach this school some tact, or get them some advisors who will tell them that was the single stupidest thing you could ever do. Once you get a generation of kids to apologize for things that aren't their fault, guilting them into believing they are responsible for things they did not do, you can then start to assign blame for other things that they also didn't do because arbitrary factor, something they can't control, i.e. another person. It was the single dumbest thing I have heard since David Dobrik on Monday, and quite frankly, all you've done is further prove this notion that anyone who's woke doesn't have a solution to elevate others, protect others, help others. All you want to do is tear others down. It is embarrassing. And quite frankly, those within the college that did this in Victoria should be put in an ISO cube. How dare you do that to them? Parents were outraged, rightly so. The children were outraged, rightly so. The principal for that school, Jane Boyle, said that the apology was part of an assembly that was inappropriate, but the intentions were pure, being quoted as saying, "The assembly included the screening of a video message by Brisbane Boys College captain Mason Black about being proactive in stopping incidents of sexual assault and harassment. In retrospect, while well-intended, we recognise that this part of the assembly was inappropriate. How about you go and apologise, Jane, To every single boy, you made apologize as a symbolic gesture for something that was not their fault. You want to teach them about respect. Lead by example.